Rumble, ticker RUM, is down 9% as we're recording this video. Now, what are the key levels we're paying attention to and how are we looking to trade this stock? So to quickly zoom out quickly, this stock has been quite predictable in the past. So as we came down into kind of this 720 area before, again, you can go back and watch the video, we made one there. We were getting long bias, we were trading options, but trading long bias into its fair value area. So trading kind of the low sevens into the high sevens / low eights. So we traded there, and then obviously we came into this area. This is why it's always key, and I'm covering this now because this is important if we come back to this level. This is considered fair value on the stock. So normally that's why we trade to this level, but once we get to this level, we get out of the stock because from here it comes a gamble. Very unclear whether it will continue up or continue down. So that's why we take profits here. And again, the same thing, I'm going through it now because that will be key. Now, we are selling off, break through this support, and again that's because you're getting that retest. If you retest it, you're obviously a lot more likely to break through. So now we're pushing down and we're testing these supports now for the first time. So these supports I'm definitely paying a lot more attention to now. So yeah, around 615 you have our first deviation from the 1 year and also our second deviation from the 6 month. So it's two really strong supports at this level. So again, we can watch this from an intraday perspective, either look at it as a potential day trade long, or again can definitely still be looking at it from a swing trade perspective. However, if we start to break this, which actually kind of looks like we could be doing now, this could create a bit of concern, because if we break this, we are going to come down to that kind of all-time low, 52-week low of 581, which is basically here. And if we break this, then obviously we don't really have any supports in line apart for the standard deviations we're going to provide, but then it should kind of free fall to that next key support, which would take us all the way down to around 510. And that's why if I was getting long bias now, I would be looking at it with protection. So normally how I would trade a stock like Rumble is get long the shares, but get also long a put to define that downside risk, so we know exactly how much risk we're taking, while also giving it time to play out and not having to stop out if it kind of temporarily pushes to the downside. So again, at support now, if we break this, we have a 510 support, and if we go any lower, a 450 support as well. So again, these are going to be the three key supports we're paying attention to if we continue to push to the downside. Now, what do we want to start paying attention to as targets? So if we're getting long bias here, looking to trade it to the upside, 720 is going to be that first target. Going to take some profits here, obviously move our stops, but if it does continue to go higher, and also this isn't one I would short because it's still considered oversold at this value. But where my main target would be is again coming into that fair value that we talked about before. So as we come into 775 to 825, that's fair value. So really looking to take basically all the profit as we come into here. Out of my swing trade, I'd be out completely coming into this level. And then if we did break this area, then that's where you start coming into more short bias levels, which would be 920, 940, because then you're coming into that oversold territory. And as well, just one thing to kind of note as well is if we go over to the chart, right above those high probability sell areas, so 940, 930, you can see at 980 you have the anchored VWAP. This is key because what this anchored VWAP is basically a VWAP, but since its IPO. So this is going to be a very strong resistance if you came into here. Again, if I was long, I would never be holding a stock really through this level because really high probability, it kind of does what it does every time it comes into this level, and that's sell off. So that would be really a nice short bias level where we can trade. And again, normally I would trade that with an option hybrid, short the shares, buy calls to define that risk, because again, if it goes through, we want that definition, but also we don't want to cap our upside on a stock like this, and that's why we do the short the shares, buy the calls, so we still have basically unlimited upside until obviously you can only make so much to the downside because you're shorting. But yeah, really here we want to define that risk at, say, $10. If it goes any higher, who cares? We just still take the same loss, but we want the upside potential, because if it goes to the downside, we want to be taking profits on the way down, because again, that's where you can get the really strong moves.